I mentioned this in my episode review. I know that video is like 40 minutes long, and I don't know if enough people will watch the entire thing to get to this particular plot point of mine. But I mentioned that rather than just go in on how ridiculous the Sabrina Rich Penelope thing is, which it definitely is, but I wanted to kind of give my own thoughts as to what the story for Sabrina could have been in season 4. Now, granted, the season is still just starting. So kudos to Tyler and the writers if they decide to go this route. So we have Sabrina learning from the clinic, or the doctor, that hey, Damani's sperm came through, the embryos could turn out to be 4 boys. So basically Sabrina would be mom to a baby boy or boys, depending on how many children she wants. So we know that rather than being excited, she feels guilty because, one, man, how dare I celebrate the news about my ability to possibly have a future son or sons, while Karen is grieving losing one of her own babies, and it's like I don't really know what to do to help her. And then Maurice reminds her, like, hey, you got to take these victories where you can. Just because someone's going through something doesn't mean you can't celebrate your own victory. That doesn't make you selfish at all, especially when you try to give your support to the person who needs it the most. That doesn't mean ignore what's going on in your own life. Side note, that was a theme in this episode where Fatima reminds Andy, look, I know Karen's going through it, but you've been through a lot yourself. You need to talk with somebody, or, handle your own inner demons after dealing with the whole Hudson, Jasmine, and Gary situation. Same thing with Zach, not fully processing or grieving, not just, the loss of his daughter, but he's still in a funk from everything from losing his mom to custody of Michael and, money from Gary and himself, he almost got killed himself during the same night that he lost his daughter. So when you look at those characters, they all need to kind of, sit in their own mess and try to clean it up or figure things out. That leads to my point about Sabrina. What could have been done as an interesting twist, because out of nowhere, what was it? Season 7 is when her birthday, she turned 35. All of a sudden, I want to be a mom. Came out of nowhere. So the journey for Sabrina was becoming a mom in season 7. And who, to donate, get sperm from, because her boyfriend Rich doesn't want to have kids, enter Damani. And it's the whole question of whose sperm do I take? But then we find out Rich's cell is a carrier sickle cell, and Sabrina opted to choose me, aka herself, by basically making the decision to accept Damani's donation and go from there. So rather than having this be a season focused on the Rich drama, for whatever reason, I don't know why they're doing it, I think what they could have and should have done with Sabrina's character is make her second guess wanting to become a mom, because she saw what Karen went through losing a child and what she's going through now. See, here's the thing. Sabrina was the one who overheard the conversation between doctors Cruz and Vaughn, and dealing with a hospital. It's like you go to a hospital hoping to get medical attention and care, yet there are certain people there who don't serve a certain demographic just because of maybe their gender, race, sexuality, whatever. So you would think that might be a red flag right there. Then on top of that, her friend going through labor and winds up losing one of her children, and now seeing the grief and whatnot she's dealing with, you would think Sabrina might be afraid to go through the pregnancy process. Like, I can't imagine carrying a child or children in my stomach for 9 months, and the day that I'm going into labor, I go through what Karen went through. Negligent doctors, nurses who don't give a damn. And then if I'm able to finally successfully give birth, what if I lose my children or child? Like, I don't think I can ever recover from that. So for me, That would have been an interesting story arc for Sabrina to go through, and to be, and low key, I think this could have been a great way for Sabrina and Karen to bond. Like, once Karen maybe sort of gets out of her funk and, starts tending to faith, Sabrina sees how beautiful that is, and Sabrina could say something like, well, Brina, you already, got Damani to donate his sperm and whatnot, so whenever you choose, it's only a matter of time before you'll be holding a baby as well. And then that's when Sabrina could, open up and talk about how she's afraid and whatnot. And then maybe Karen could be somewhat of a pillar of strength. Again, not saying she makes a full recovery from her grief, but just let Sabrina know, Brina, you're going to be a great mom. And look, I know I went through it, but here's the thing. At least you know what to look out for. And I'm pretty sure after everything that I went through and the hell that Andy's going to rain down on that hospital with that lawsuit, I bet that if you do get pregnant and have a baby at that hospital, they're going to treat you right. So go ahead. Whenever you're ready, do what needs to be done so you can become a mom too. That would have been a great story for the season. And keep in mind, folks, we went into season 9. When was it? I think it was like season 8 is when they started putting stuff under wraps. Like, not having character descriptions on like Actors Access or any of those websites. Like, I've only gotten breadcrumbs as to what's going down in this season. Like, for example, I pretty much know next to nothing about Sistas season 10. I only know about 2 pieces of information about Zatima season 4. Something about a DJ at like a baby shower. And I think something regarding a judge. That's it. And I did videos on that stuff because people were able to find it. They were like on these off the beaten path websites regarding actor positions. Like, hey, we got a casting call. Yeah, we got a casting call for this and that. And that's it. Like, I don't know. I'm not doing videos where it's like, hey, here are 15 new characters who will be introduced in Sistas season 10. I don't know anything. So when I'm doing this video and I'm speculating on what Sabrina's story could have been and low-key should have been rather than this rich Penelope crap, maybe we could see something in the back half of the season. But I honestly feel like this would have been a great route to take the Sabrina character, to have her going from eager to become a mom to, oh, hell no, I don't want any of that. Not out of selfishness, but low-key out of fear. And that would have been an interesting thing to do. So with that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think of my idea of what a Sabrina storyline for season 9 could have been? Her low-key having like PTSD from seeing what her friend is going through regarding motherhood and her second guessing herself. Honestly, that would have been great because you got Andy dealing with PTSD from the whole Jasmine and Hudson situation. You have Karen dealing with postpartum. You got Zach dealing with the grief of losing his daughter. You have Fatima in a funk because she doesn't know what to do to help Zach get out of his, situation. Danny, I don't really know what to say about Danny. The whole thing with Tony, I don't know. Maybe she'll low-key feel guilt for the whole Tony situation, for him quitting his job for her. Maybe. But yeah, this would have been a great storyline for Sabrina to undertake. And yeah, that's all I got. So with that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, what I would hate is, let's say she found out, I don't know, Rich got Penelope pregnant and out of spite decides, to let go of her fear and, let Damani's sperm take over and she gets pregnant. I don't want that. I don't want that. Make it where Sabrina is now uncertain, because it's well within her character to, I don't want to say be weak, but to be afraid. And that would make a lot of sense. So that's my 2 cents. Let me know yours in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next video.